Hey guys, thanks for doing the handstand program. I hope you enjoy it. I just want to give you a brief intro as to how it all works and what's the best way to watch and to do the program. So, firstly, the program is for anyone who is a beginner. So, someone who's never done a handstand before, or they've kind of dabbled with handstands a little bit, but you're not really sure of how to structure a workout focusing on only handstands. So, yeah, if you've never done a handstand before, or you've done a couple, this is perfect for you. If you're a bit more advanced, then this is probably not the best program for you. If you're looking for further services, hit me up. So the best way to watch this video is, for the first couple of times anyway, is to probably have your headphones in your ears and listening to the cues that I'm saying as you're doing them. So I'm going to be demonstrating the whole workout with you, but I'm also going to be voicing over the whole time so you can know exactly what cues you need whilst you're doing the exercise. Once you start to become a bit more experienced with the program, then you can get some tunes going, zone into it a bit more, and you don't have to listen to the cues as much. But for probably the first 5 to 6 times, I would recommend listening to the headphones and listening to the cues. If this is your 10th time watching the video, this is the time that I want you to skip to get the workout started. Should be somewhere here. With the program, basically it's a program that you can do every single day. Because you're working on skill with the handstand, you're not necessarily burning out your strength and energy systems too much every time you hit it. So you can hit this every day if you like. But if you start to feel like you're fatiguing, then I would probably take it off, one day off each time. Sorry, let me explain it again. One day, every second day you would have off. So you do one day, rest, next day, rest, like that. So throughout the program, have a crack. If you have any feedback for me or if things don't work that well with the video, just let me know and I'll see if I can fix it. If not, happy handstanding. You! Alright guys, so let's get into it. First, we're going to warm up the wrists, shoulders and the core for our handstand. So this is heel raises. So what you want to do is push through the first knuckle of your hand, the index knuckle, and then lift your palm off the floor and then slowly control it back down. Where your shoulders are matters because it applies more weight if you're leaning forward or less weight if you lean back. So the movement should be really smooth. You're not trying to make it so hard that it's really clunky. So you're going to go through 10 reps in total. Probably done about 5. So that's 6. Just make sure that it's smooth the whole time and you're not trying to rush it and you're focusing on getting your forearms nice and jacked up. Next, you're going to come into backhand roll to fist. So get your hands flat on the floor, spread your fingers as wide as you can, and try and get your elbows dead straight. From there, you're going to squeeze the fingers in and roll onto your fists. And then control it back down. Now, you're going to do 10 reps here as well. And I want to make sure that you're never bending your elbows. If you have to bend your elbows because your wrists are too tight, that's fine, but you're working towards keeping them straight and all the movement is coming from just the wrist, nowhere else. Now with this, the same applies. If I lean myself forward over my hands, it's going to make it harder. If I lean back towards my knees, it'll make it easier. So go through and get your 10 reps done. Next, you're going to finish on your wrists and we're going to do fist rolls. So you want to squeeze your fist as hard as you can and then start by rolling from the wrist. So as you can see, I'm articulating my movement solely from the wrist. My body shifts backwards and forwards, but once I'm here, most of it's coming from the wrist, nowhere else. So work going from elbows to floor to elbows straight and just keep moving for 10 reps here as well. Now this should feel like a stretch, not like it's painful. So if it's hurting, you should probably take it easier on the stretch forward. Don't push as far, just enough so you can feel a slight opening and then controlling back. If you're squeezing your fist really tight the whole time, it shouldn't hurt and it is really safe if you're doing that. If your hand is relaxed, then you could potentially hurt yourself. So go through and get your 10 reps. Next, we're going to stretch out the forearms. So this is a position it looks like from the front. Your fingers are turning back towards your knees and your elbows are straight. So from the side, you want to press your palms flat into the floor, and then you sit back towards your heels just enough so that you feel the stretch, but your palms don't lift. Now you're going to hold this for 30 seconds. So if you're following along to the video, I'm doing it for 30 seconds, so you can just follow that. Or if you want to pause, you can start your timer as well. But for now, we'll just follow to when I do the 30 seconds. So here I'm trying to breathe, I'm trying to be relaxed, I'm trying to make sure my palms are pressing down. Then the next stage, you're going to bend the elbows, only the fingertips will be on the floor. So fingertips down, and I'm trying to get my elbows to touch my thighs. I'm bending them so much. This is kind of gross, like it actually makes me feel sick, and yeah, if you don't feel sick, maybe you're not doing it right. Just kidding. Once you've done, shake the hands out and we'll move on to the shoulders. So for this, you're going to need either a 1 kilo dumbbell or just a drink bottle full of water is perfect. You're going to lie in the fetal position with your shoulders tucked underneath. Your bottom arm, the hand, will rest on top of your knee. Now what you don't want to do is what I'm doing there. I'm rolling onto my back. So keep the shoulder tucked underneath, hand on the knee, grab onto your bottle or your dumbbell. Make sure the thumb points down, and then you're going to draw a circle over your head and towards your back. Now this is wrong. Rolling onto your shoulders is not what I want. You need to keep your shoulders stacked, and your shoulder does all of the work in moving the dumbbell. So here I'm keeping the thumb pointing down, really slowly coming towards my bum, and then back over the top to the front. Now you're going to do 5 to 6 reps on each side. The key thing is, don't let your elbow bend as you're moving. Go really smooth and try and reach your hand away from your body. So you're drawing the biggest circle you can with the dumbbell. And most importantly, you don't roll over onto your back. So keep yourself nice and stacked. Make the movement really smooth. So if you're following along, we've done about 3. We've got 2 more to go. This should feel nice once you start getting to the 5th rep. And then in your own time, you can roll across and do the other side. So from this side, you'll be able to see what my hand is doing behind the back. Make sure you're not showing your bum crack to anyone. Reach overhead, keep the thumb pointing down. And I'm trying to keep that hand turning down. It shouldn't rotate much at all. As you can see, my elbow is staying quite straight. Shoulder is doing most of the movement. There's a little bit of rolling over, but not too much. I'm not rolling flat onto my back. So you should do about 3 more here. Again, this wants to feel nice. It doesn't want to feel too straining. So if it's hurting your shoulder a lot, you can drop the weight or the drink bottle and just use your body weight. Once you've done your 5 reps, we're going to rotate back to the first shoulder and we're going to do an internal rotation stretch. So same position, the fetal position. This time the dumbbell is in the bottom arm. And so what you're going to do is keeping your elbow and your shoulder in line, not like what I was doing just then. So they're in the same line. And then the dumbbell is going to try and get down towards the floor. So here I'm actively pulling with my bottom arm to the floor, and I'm using a bit of assistance with the top arm to push down to get the stretch even more. So it should feel like you're aiming to do it without the help, but your hand is helping more to get you more stretch. So you're going to do about 5 to 6 reps here. Again, this shouldn't feel too uncomfortable. Yes, it'll be a strong stretch, but it's not that aggressive that it hurts or you feel like you're going to injure your shoulder. All this is warming up for the handstand. So if you injure your shoulder before you even start, then what's the point of that? So you're going to roll over and do the other side next. If at any stage you need to pause the video, guys, pause the video and do your reps and then start it when you get to the next side. So again, use the hand to push down. Now, this is my tighter side. So if you have one side that feels tighter and more restricted, that's completely normal too. Just give it a little bit extra love, maybe with some more reps, or you can just spend a bit more time in the stretch down the bottom. I prefer to spend a bit more time in each position down the bottom, just to get a bit more stretch. So you're actively pulling down and using the hand, and then really smooth, get it to touch the floor and come back. Your head position can be wherever you feel necessary as well. Try not to be looking up because that's going to jam your neck a bit, so just try and keep your head as neutral as possible. And take your time and finish the reps. Next, we're going to come into a kneeling T-spine opener. So this one is really helpful for the handstand because it's opening our shoulders in that position that we need. So you're going to be only on your fingertips with the hands. Your hands shouldn't be flat. This is not a downward dog or a child's pose. You are on your fingertips. So you want your shoulders to be pushing towards the floor. Elbows are dead straight. And then walk your knees back so that your knees are behind your hips. You shouldn't have your knees below your hips. They should be behind the hips. From here, take as much arch into your spine as you need and really try and push your chest to the floor. Now, you can't really see in the video, but I'm looking forwards. I'm not looking down. So I'm trying to get my chin up as much as I can. This is really similar to handstand. That's what we're going for. So you're going to hold this for 45 seconds. We've already done about 20, so continue on for the next 25. Here you want to make sure you're breathing really soft. You're trying to relax, but you're really active in the upper body, trying to get as much stretch as you can out of your shoulders. Good. Then once you've done the 45, we're going to move over to the core exercises. So next we're going to work on our line position. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to show you my back as well. You don't need to lift your top up like that if you don't want to. But so there's a gap between my lower back now. What we're trying to do is keep the wrists on the ground and my heels on the ground whilst pushing my lower back into the floor. This is going to give us the ideal line when we're in our handstand. So I'm pushing my hands forward as far as I can towards the wall. So I'm really long, and then I'm trying to stretch my toes the other way so I'm as long as possible. Now we're going to go through 10 reps here. So you squeeze hard for 5 seconds, and then you relax. Squeeze hard so the belly button pulls in. I'm pressing my lower back to the floor without letting my wrists and heels lift, and then I relax. When you relax, you'll feel your lower back lift away from the floor. Here I'm tucking, pushing, squeezing. You can notice my head is going red as well because it's quite hard. Then you relax, let the breath go. So keep on doing this. We'll follow through for another 7 reps. Now, if you notice that you need to bend the knees, try not to let that happen. Try and keep your legs straight. If your feet start to come off the floor just slightly, that is okay. As long as your hands aren't lifting, I'm alright with that. But ideally, the heels and the wrists don't leave the floor whilst the lower back presses down into the floor. So this is really difficult, and if you tighten the shoulders, you're going to find this hard. But overall, this is probably the most important position for handstand. If you can nail this, handstand's going to be a bajillion times easier for you. So continue with the reps, keep moving, do your thing. Once you finish the reps, you're going to slowly roll over to your front. Now this next position, you're basically trying to do the same thing, just in reverse. So the core position should be ideally what you're looking for mostly, and then the arm position next. Your lower body will kind of do its job quite easily here. So I want to pull in with the belly so that my belly button doesn't touch the floor, and there's this lift in my lower back. that's ideal. Whilst the lift is happening, I want my arms to lift off the ground here. So this is actively strengthening that position. So you're going to hold for 10 seconds and then relax. And we'll do 3 sets. So brace with the core, squeeze the glutes, lift the arms up and reach those thumbs towards the sky. Make sure your legs are tight, everything is active here. And then relax the rep. Notice my lower back relaxes, and then as I turn on, actively pull in, squeeze, lift the hands. Hold for 10 seconds. If you're struggling to keep your hands up, you can take your hands slightly wider and that'll make it easier. And then rest. Only 3 sets here. Once you've done that, stretch it out, move your body around. Do what you need to do for it to feel like a finished version. So next I'm going to go through 3 variations for the start of the workout. So what you're focusing on is keeping your shoulders up towards your ears. We don't want this, not really spread. So you want scapular elevation pushing up towards the sky. Now this first variation is called a box handstand. So this is for people who are struggling to get up onto the wall. This is your best bet. Now you can do this with like a table, you can do this with a box like I've got, or maybe a really high chair. And we're going to use the exact same stuff that we're doing on the floor, but try and apply it to our handstand now. So all the tucking and squeezing, all the pushing through the shoulders, that's what we're looking for in this. So what you're going to do is get your knees onto the box, walk your hands in. Now think about pushing up through the shoulders so you're as tall as you can, and pulling the belly button in. What you don't want to see is the shoulders coming forward like I'm about to demonstrate. This is not what we want. That's called planching. You don't want that. And we also don't want arching in the lower back and our shoulders to relax. We want this doming sensation and then pushing the shoulders open towards the box. Now, when we get into the workout, you're going to try and hold this for 45 seconds. The next variation is an angled nose to wall. So you would start in a push-up and then your feet would walk up the wall. Now bear in mind, I'm demonstrating this. This is not the workout yet, so chill. So you want to try and get your body somewhere close to the wall that you feel comfortable with. Your body will be on an angle. You don't want your feet tucked like that. You want your toes pointed. You want to push through the shoulders just like we were doing on the floor. This is not cool. If this is happening, go back to the box. So if you can hold that straight line, make sure it's really tight and you're really long, and you're going to hold that for 45 seconds. Really important thing that I forgot to mention is hand position. So with your hands, we want the index finger forward like this. Don't spread your fingers too wide. That's not cool. And don't turn your hands in. Just make sure they're straight. The last variation is the full nose to wall position. So you enter the exact same way, walk your feet up the wall. Now here we want to get as close to the wall as possible so that we are really straight. Now I'm doing all the same stuff as in the other variations, but now I'm just more vertical. So squeezing my legs, my glutes, my belly button drawing in and pushing up the wall. What I don't want to see is sagging in the shoulders or looking too far forward with the head. You're going to make sure you're looking at the wall. That's why it's called a nose to wall. So your nose is touching the wall and everything but your toes and your nose is touching the wall. So you shouldn't feel your legs, you shouldn't feel your hips or your chest. So now we're going to get into it. So first set is 45 seconds. You're going to choose your variation. If you need more time to figure out the variation, just pause the video and figure that stuff out. But for now, I'm going to do the full nose to wall version with you so we can work it out and get it going. So I've started the timer, I've walked back in, and I'm in position. Now here I'm just thinking, how tall can I be? Can I get as much force out of my shoulders as possible by pushing up, drawing the belly button in and squeezing the glutes? Here, it all becomes about getting in the zone and breathing and staying still. Trying not to shake and shift and move your head around too much. Just try and stay dead still. Now this will feel quite hard if this is your first time, so bear in mind, if you need to come down at any stage, come down early. You don't have to hang out for the full 45 seconds if you don't have the strength yet. But ideally, you'll build up to 45 seconds for 3 sets. So hang in there, we're almost done. And then make sure you walk the hands out and you slowly come back down. So set your timer again. You're going to set it for a minute so that your rest is exactly a minute. And then we're going to just stretch out a couple of things whilst we're resting. So I always like to stretch the wrists out. You grab onto the hands, move them in different positions. They usually get tight in the back, so I like this one. You can also stretch out the shoulders, interlace your fingers behind the back, open the chest up. Anything in this stage is kind of welcomed if it's necessary. So if you feel like you've got tightness in your back or on your shoulders or your wrists or wherever, you kind of just draw attention to there and give it the love that it needs. Another good one is the opening of the lat. Make sure you do both sides. And also, if you don't want to stretch, you can just chill. So a minute is up, we get back into it. So make sure you set your timer. Take your time getting into position. Find your position, get super tight. And then settle into your zone. Remember to squeeze the glutes, nose to the wall. Nothing but your toes touches the wall. Everything else is floating. The weight is in your hands, but your shoulders are actively pushing you up. You're as tall as you possibly can be. If you need, you can check the time, but try to stay with it. And then make sure you've got enough gas left in the tank to come down safely. One thing to note, guys, if you're like really gassed by the end of it, you want to make sure that you've got enough left in you to come down so that you don't just face plant the ground or have to do some crazy stack to get out of it. Another variation in between your rests is arm swings. So you can start by swinging your arms forwards and backwards, or even going side to side. I like this one too. You basically just want to like flush your arms out a bit because they're going to be doing a lot of work. The more blood flow we can get to the area, the better. And making sure like if you're feeling tired here, don't overdo it. Just chill. You don't need to do stretching. Rest is more important in the overall. So we've done 2 sets. We've got 1 more set to go. If you're starting to struggle with the variation that you've chosen, you can step back into another variation. Or if the one you've got is too easy, you can step forward and give it a go. So last one, set your timer, get into position, and then hold yourself there. By now, this set is probably getting a little bit more difficult, so really zone into that breath. Zone into your breath, do your checklist, make sure your legs are tight, your glutes are tight, your shoulders are pushing, and you're as tall as possible, and then just hold on for the ride. Keep breathing. You're almost there. Make sure you've got enough in the tank, and then you can start to come down. Nice, guys. So that's good. So set your timer again, and I'm going to demonstrate the next exercise whilst you're resting. So here we're going to practice kick-ups. So kick-up can look heaps of different ways. So I'm going to show you the proper way first and the things not to do. So I want to get my shoulders above my wrists. My top leg isn't bent. It wants to stay straight. And then that's launching me up to the wall where I'm going to hit with my heels. I actually stuffed that one up. I'm going to hit with my heels, and then I'm going to come back down. Notice how my legs are staying really straight as I kick up and I come down, and that my shoulders aren't moving forwards and backwards too much. They're just kind of in position, and then I'm down. What I don't want to see, don't look forward, don't look at the wall, and don't jump towards the wall. Only thing hitting the wall should be your heels, not your back and not your hips like that, or your head for that matter. So you want to push up in the shoulders, dome, see how active I look, and then it's a really strong kick, heels to the wall. Now, this doesn't have to look so perfect. It might not even be getting to the wall. It might be just short kick-ups, and that's fine too. But let's start our first set, okay? So you've got 10 reps. The first ones might look small, or you might get it first go. That still counts as a rep. So that's 2 reps. So it's 10 really good attempts. But be honest with yourself here. If your attempt is kind of dismal and you're not that happy with it, don't count the rep. Only the ones that you're like, yeah, I gave it my all, they count. So if you can kick up, this is great. You might not get all of them, which is completely fine, but just keep practicing and keep dialing in that position. Now, I'm not expecting you to alternate your legs as well. So you want to just stick to your dominant side, because it's all about getting into the position. It's not about making sure you're real even with kicking up, because at the end of the day, if you can do a handstand, no one really cares about your kick up. They're just like, cool, you can do a handstand. So you're going to have a minute rest in between. So hands on the wall. This is a good stretch for the shoulders. Push the chest down, start to open up the shoulders, play around. You can move your hips, stretch yourself out, whatever you kind of need for your handstand. If your body feels tight anywhere at this stage, you can do that. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You can do anything. I always get really tight in my neck because I've done so many handstands, so you'll see me always tilting my head and stretching out my traps. You can do this too. Roll the wrists, whatever you need. So, minute is up. We're going to get into our next set. So, set the hands, set the feet, shoulders positioned, and then nice kick up. It's 2. Try not to bend your back when you do it. Try and lead with your hips. It's 4. 5 more. Good. If you find that I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video and do the reps in your own speed. Just make sure you get 10. Good, guys. Set your timer again for a minute. And then we're into the next rest period. If you need a drink of water here as well, grab a drink of water. At any stage, if you need water, obviously just drink. I don't want you to get too parched or thirsty. But bear in mind, if you just scull a litre of water and then you're going upside down, you're probably going to feel that coming back up a little bit. So just little sips for now. So do any of the stretches that you need. Neck, shoulders, wrists, whatever you want. And we're back on, team. Last set of the kick-ups. So get yourself G'd up, in a position. Nice, good start. And then you're away. 10 reps. Keep moving. This is great. Make sure that you're just doing your best attempt each time. Don't count the bad ones, just the good ones. So you're going to get 10 nice reps. Good. So here you'd set your timer again, get yourself set up, and we're going to move on to the next exercise. So this is going to be a demonstration first. So we're going to do what's called a hollow hold, which is really good for strengthening the core for handstand. So notice I lift my shoulders and I lift my bum away from the floor. You should only feel your lower back. Now this is position 1. This is position 2. Gets a little bit harder with the legs straight. Position 3 is lowering the legs to wherever you can keep your lower back down. And then position 4 is mad dog, arms overhead, reaching through the toes as well. At any stage, if your back comes off the ground, that lower back, no good. You got to come back to the first progression. So here, can't get my hand under my lower back. That's when you know it's good. So we're going to get the timer again. We're going to start 45-second hold. So start in the variation 1 to make sure that you can get the right position, and then see if it's easy, you can start to lengthen the legs out. The one thing I'm really working on here is not letting my bum hit the floor and my shoulder blades hit the floor. If you can feel them touching the ground, you're not lifting yourself up high enough. You've got to really pull yourself towards your knees so you can get that rounded spine situation going. Breath needs to be smooth. Mind is zoning in. Try not to check the time too much because you know you want to. Just breathe and stay in the position. 45 seconds is almost up. Good. So set your timer to a minute. Roll over and we're going to stretch out the abs. So just a little bit of upward dog, but this is a really relaxed upward dog. So shoulders can be pushing or up in your neck. Doesn't really matter. Just move your hips around a bit to find the good stretch through the core. You're probably burning a little bit if you've been doing it properly. So just arch it out. Notice how I'm kind of playing with my position. Doesn't have to be static. You can move around as much as you need. Minute rest is up, guys, so we're going to do round 2. So I'm going to demonstrate the second position for a moment, and then we're going to go back to the first position. If you want to advance it and move into the harder positions, go for it. So press your timer, squeeze, legs straight, but I'm making sure my lower back is on the ground. If you start to feel like your lower back is lifting, and I'll demonstrate that here, you need to come back to the first progression. So what can usually happen is the arching of your back happens, your shoulders drop. That's not good. So come back to 1. And then once you've got your zone, just step into it, hold and breathe. You're aiming for maximal ab contraction here. You want to feel like your whole core is burning on fire and your lower back is pressing. 45 is done. Rest it up. So again, any stretches that you need, make sure you set your timer to a minute to get your rest periods precise. You can even just lie here if you like. Take some big breaths, chill out a bit. If you want to go back to the upward dog to stretch your abs out, feel free to do that too. So we're doing 3 sets in total. So we've got 1 more set to go, and then that's the end of the program. So whatever you've got left in the tank, you're going to go for it now with this ab squeeze. So make sure, most importantly, the technique is on point. Don't advance yourself too far if it's not. And then we're ready to go. Last set. So get your time ready. Start that shit. And you are on. Shoulders up, hips up, super tight. I like to close my eyes to get in the zone, and you just hold. This is good, guys. Stay with it. In the zone. Breathe. Think it's your last set, so give it everything you've got. All in the tank has to be gone by the end of this. If you want to, you can lengthen the legs out, or hands can go overhead, completely up to you. You got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Good job, guys. Well done. So if the program was too hard, what you can do is you can drop the sets. If it was too easy, you can add more sets onto each exercise. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, thanks for doing the program. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learnt some stuff. If this was your first time doing handstands, then I'm stoked that you've started. You've started a very addictive journey. If you have any questions or feedback for me, the best place to reach me would be my Instagram, turner.som. For now, happy handstanding and enjoy your training. Peace, guys.